What's up, guys? My name is JD and I'm your Japanese language mentor. I'm going to teach you how to use polite versus casual Japanese. And no matter what level you are in your Japanese right now, this is definitely going to help you on your Japanese journey. So when do I use polite? When do I use casual? Do I always use polite? Do I only use casual with my friends? These are great questions, but this is one of the most complex topics in all of Japanese, in my opinion. So the number one question we got to ask ourselves first is who? Who am I talking to? My boss, my mom, my friend's dog. I don't know. And number two is when. What situation am I in? Am I at work? Am I at home? Or am I at church? These are the biggest factors when you're trying to decide between polite and casual, okay? So a lot of people, including myself when I was learning, struggle with this concept. Unfortunately, there is no easy 1, 2, 3, you master this by the end of the video trick. But I can give you two pieces of advice that will really help you navigate this and save you a lot of stress and a lot of time, okay? Whenever you open your mouth to speak Japanese, there's two choices. You're like, am I gonna speak polite or keigo, or am I gonna speak casual? Well, first we gotta know what polite or keigo looks like or sounds like. So that's step number one. So let's go do that. Honestly, it's really easy, in my opinion, to identify what is polite, what is keigo, okay? Let's take a look at some sentences. And here's one you might be familiar with. Ready? お元気ですか? お元気ですか? Awesome. Great. You guys answered. Yeah. Okay. So why is this sentence polite? Why is this sentence considered keigo? If you said it's because of the o in front of ogenki, then you are totally wrong. Yes, totally wrong. And if you said it's because of the ka after genki desu ka, you're totally wrong. Yes, totally wrong. Okay. But if you said it's because of the des, yay, you did it. Okay, so ka is often used in polite questions, okay, but it doesn't make it polite. O doesn't make the sentence polite, and it doesn't actually even technically make that word polite. Pretty crazy, and I can prove it. If I were to say, これ JD-san no obento? Let's look at that sentence. Is this your bento, JD? Is that keigo? Is that a polite sentence? There's a san, but actually that doesn't make it polite. It honors my name a little bit, but it doesn't make the sentence polite. So that doesn't make the sentence polite. And actually neither does o. Certain words like obento and otomodachi or omizu, they just have o thrown in front of them, and it doesn't make that word more polite necessarily. It can make it sound a little nicer sometimes, okay, but it doesn't make that word polite necessarily, and it doesn't make that sentence polite. Because, for example, if I were to say to you, osuwari, there's an o in front of it, and then you have suwari, like sit, so osuwari, oh please sit. Actually, I'd be commanding you like a dog to sit. So just because there's an o in front of it doesn't mean it's necessarily polite, okay? If we wanted to make this sentence more polite, what would we have to do? If you said just add des, then you are correct, okay? So we have to add des to the sentence. これ JD-sanのお弁当ですか? Boom. Good. Now it's polite. Okay, so let's just do some comparisons real quick, okay? 元気ですか? 元気? 昨日でした. 昨日だった. 行きますか? 行く? 行きました. 行った. Done. Now we can finally identify polite versus casual by sight, right? Well, if you're still confused, here's a little piece of advice. If the sentence ends in des, deshita, mas, mashita, masen, or masho, then the sentence is polite. If you can identify any of those 7 things, then you can be assured if it's at the end of the sentence that it's a polite sentence, that's keigo, okay? So now the big question is who? Who am I talking to? Like I said, this is probably the most complex area of Japanese. So depending on who you're talking to and in what situation, is it my boss at the picnic? Is it my mom's friend that I've known since I was 3 years old? Is it my mom's friend that I just met for the first time? Oh, so I'm going to use keigo with her, or like I'm going to use keigo with my boss, but you know, this is a relaxed situation, so maybe a little less polite speech, okay? Business Japanese, very rigid for the most part. Everything else, it's pretty flexible for the most part. There's just certain situations where you would or you wouldn't, And like I said, it just can't be taught. There's too many variables, too many situations, too many specific examples, and I can't teach them all. I don't think they can be taught. I think it has to be learned, okay? So you just got to go out there and do it. All right, so remember those tips I said I'd tell you about? Number one, whenever you meet someone for the first time, just use polite Japanese. Number two, whenever you meet someone for the first time and they're the same age as you or younger, and they start using casual Japanese, feel free to use casual Japanese, okay? So in general, you're just kind of copying what the other person is doing a lot of the time. And the biggest fear that people seem to have is like, I don't want to offend anybody. I use casual. Oh no. Like, it's not rude Japanese versus like exalting Japanese, okay? It's like more polite Japanese versus less polite Japanese. It's not informal, meaning that it's somehow like rude or something like that, okay? It's just polite versus casual, okay? You can be casual with many different people. It's okay. It doesn't have to be your friend. It doesn't have to be your mom or whatever. There's lots of different situations where casual can slip in. That's it for now. That's all we're going to do. If you have more questions about polite or casual, please just comment in the section below. And I pray for your Japanese, and I hope you have a nice day. See you later.